Hey y'all, I just got finished watching Guy Ritchie's Wrath of Man, and I highly recommend the movie if you're interested in crime capers that are very intricately woven together and that are both very violent and also very smart in their execution. It's really a very well-made film. It's not, I wouldn't say it's a deep movie in any way, in any sense, but it's a film. It's a cinephile's film, that's for sure. It's also a very refreshingly non-PC movie. It's very testosterone heavy. It's testosteronic. It's got an almost totally male cast, and there's a lot of male bonding humor and just unapologetic stuff, like just not pulling any punches as far as that goes, and that's even enough to make some of the pansy critics get all bunged up, but so be it. I'm not going to talk about the movie itself, although, like I said, I do recommend it, as long as you're somebody who doesn't mind seeing a lot of violence and bloodshed. If you are somebody like that, then of course I would avoid it. But then you'd probably know that already with the title, like what it has, and if you've even seen the preview, and just knowing that it stars Jason Strahan, which was sort of the action hero who, if I resembled any action hero, it would be him. So I guess I should feel some kind of affinity there. Although he could snap me in half like a twig. Who are we kidding? But I wanted to talk about a couple things in the movie that really struck me. Now, I suppose it may be said that ever since my eyes were open to Pedogate, I've begun to see it more and more places, and I know some people would just say, oh, that's just obsessive fixation, and it's true, you do have to guard against that. You do have to guard against starting to see things where they aren't really there. But I don't think anybody who watches the film Wrath of Man will deny these little references, these things that come up. One of the things that happens, and these aren't going to be major spoilers, I don't think they're really spoilers at all. They reveal a couple things that happen in the movie, but nothing about the plot or any twists and turns or what happens or anything like that. But it comes out that, of course, if you've seen the preview, you know that Jason Strahan plays a character who is going undercover as a security guard for a company that drives, what do they call them? Those money trucks, those armored trucks that are, meant to ship money or gold or, valuable commodities from one place to another, that are heavily guarded and heavily armored and all of that. Well, he's going undercover because his son was killed in a recent heist that took place, and he wants to go and find out who was responsible for killing his son, so that he can exact his revenge. Well, along the way, he has a lot of underworld friends who help him out, and they shake down this one guy, torture him basically, and then eventually he says, well, okay, it might be these people. I bet they're behind it because they're evil. They're into witchcraft, and they do films with kids and stuff like that. In other words, CP, child pornography. And so there's a scene where they bust these people who are in some way affiliated with the crime syndicate, but the crime syndicate is also very much wound up with, affiliated in some way, or everything is, wound up together. Like I was saying in my prior video, about how the state, the whole conglomerate, the whole power structure, the whole power grid, if you will, has a right hand and a left hand. The right hand means well, but is mostly incompetent. The left hand means evil and is unfortunately horribly competent. So you see that here. These criminal groups and these law-abiding, law enforcement groups are all wound up together. And so there's a scene involving these evil, like satanic sort of people who they bust while they're doing a film where they're raping young girls. And Jason Strahan and his underworld friends, they find out that these people are a dead end, that they're awful, terrible people doing terrible things, but they're not the ones actually behind what happened and what happened to his son. So it's sort of a misdirection scene, and he of course takes care of these people, these evil perverts, in a very satisfying way. I don't know what the whole body count is in this whole movie, but it's quite high. In this case, it's not people that we want to see live anyway, considering the kind of things that they're doing. So that scene is like a diversion from who the real culprits are, which I won't reveal here. But still, it's interesting that it's there in the first place. Also, this thing is set in Los Angeles, and near the end of the movie, there's a reference to underground tunnels. While the criminals are plotting this elaborate heist, one of them mentions how they can get away in these underground tunnels, which have not been on maps of the city since 1957. And so, even a lot of official type sources don't even know that they're there. And when the SWAT teams themselves come after these people, they're like, there's a whole bunch of, it's like a rabbit's burrow down there. Underground tunnels beneath Los Angeles. We've heard a lot about that, haven't we? I believe that was even featured in True Detective Season 2, now that I think of it, although at the time it didn't, the connections, the Pedog connection didn't really strike me, but I think I've heard about how underground tunnels connected the Polanski house where the rape of the 13-year-old took place, with the houses of maybe a couple of other celebrities who were there, including Jack Nicholson. You hear these kinds of stories, and of course, underground tunnels are, what are they doing with these in these places? Illicit things, right? They're moving illicit things around. In this case, it's meant to be a way for the criminals to make their getaway, but the very mention of them again brings to mind Pedogate, because surely that's part of what goes on down there, is that they're moving human traffic along. So, just a couple of very interesting references in this movie, directed after all by Guy Ritchie, who was once Mr. Madonna Sicione. Who knows what he actually knows? Who knows what ungodly organizations he's been, initiated into after seeing that Australian guy's video, Altian Brown's video. It's one wonders. But these little references keep popping up in movies. And of course, I'm a cinephile, and I've been noticing them. So in this video, I'm going to stick to talking about this movie that I just saw today, Wrath of God, Wrath of Man. But I've also got some other ones to talk about. So let me know what you think if you've seen the movie. If you haven't, I recommend it. And I'll talk to y'all soon. My name's Andy Nowicki. Check out my work at altrightnovelist.com.